Hare Krishna, Mataji. You can take over.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, thank you everyone for joining us today. We're continuing our Ramayana series, and today we will finish Kishkinda Kanda. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayati Girim Yat Krupatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Krishna Chaitanyam Ishwaram Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Parshatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Kujantam Ram Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakam Vande Valmiki Kokilam Valmikir Munisamhasya Kavita Vanacharina Shranvan Ramakathanadam Konayati Param Gatim Veda Vedye Paripamse Jati Dasharatatmaje Veda Prachesada Pracheshada वेद प्राचेतसात् आसीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना अंजनानंदनं वीरं जानकी शोकनाशनं कपीशमक्षहंतारं वन्दे लंकाभयङ्करम् मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि आञ्जनेयमदिपाटनालनं काञ्चनाद्रिकमनीयविग्रहं पारिजाततरुमूलवासिनं भावयामि भवमाननन्दनम् यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं भाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसात्मकम् जयत्राशतसन्त्रासध्वान्तविद्वांसनोदयः प्रभावान् सीतया देव्या परमव्योमभास्करः श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं श्रीराम नाम वरानने हरे कृष्ण. So much for joining us today. We are continuing our study of the Valmiki Ramayana, and currently we are in Kishkinda Kanda, and we are going to end Kishkinda Kanda today, and next week we will move on to Sundara Kanda. So here is a quick synopsis of what we have seen. Ramachandra entered the beautiful area of the Pampa Sarovar in Kishkinda, and while he was witnessing the beauty of this Pampa Sarovar, he was reminded of Sita, and he was feeling pangs of separation from Sita. And while he entered, the Vanaras got alarmed, especially one particular Vanara who was Sugriva. So Sugriva, he was staying in this mountain called as Rishimukha Parvat, and he sends Hanuman, who's his minister, to go check out who these two men were who had come into their area. So he was thinking externally they appear to be like mendicants, but then they have very strong arms like Kshatriyas. So he doubted that they could be Vali's people. So Sugriva, Hanuman, he goes and he tries to meet Ram and Lakshman in the guise of a mendicant again, and a bhikshu sannyasi, basically. So he goes in the guise of a bhikshu and he tries to find out the intentions of Ram and Lakshman. But in the process, he reveals his true identity, because when you see the Supreme Lord in front of you, you cannot hide anything from him. So automatically, our Hanuman, he revealed his true identity. Looking at Hanuman's fine speech, Ramachandra was very impressed, and he tells Lakshman that if Sugriva has such a nice minister, then what is not accomplished by him? So like that, Ramachandra glorifies about Hanuman to Lakshman. Then Lakshmana introduces himself and he calls himself as the servant of Lord Ram. And Hanuman decides to introduce Ram and Lakshman to Sugriva. So they ride on Hanuman's back and then they go on to the Rishimukha Parvat where their dear friend Sugriva was waiting. Sugriva and Lord Ramachandra enter a pact of friendship. After they enter a pact of friendship, Sugriva begins telling his story. And he also mentions how he saw Sita and how Sita had dropped her jewels. So he goes into the cave and he brings out the jewels and he shows it to Ram and Lakshman and he asks them to identify the jewels. Ramachandra is so choked up and he's crying. He's not even able to see the jewels properly. And he asks Lakshman to identify them. And we all know what Lakshman said. He said, I cannot identify anything beyond the anklets of Mother Sita. Then Ramachandra begins to cry, and Sugriv requests Ram to calm down. And then Sugriva begins to tell his own story. He opens up, he tells how Vali and Sugriva had gone into this cave, and while Vali was fighting, Sugriv actually thought that the demon was dead. Vali was dead, and he closed the cave. But then Vali was inside alive and he kicked open the cave and he came out, and to his shock, he saw that Sugriva was enthroned. So he rejected his brother. Though his brother fell onto his feet and surrendered still because of this, this big mistake that Sugriva did, Vali was very annoyed and he rejects his brother, and that Sharanagati was a failure. Then Hanuman, he tells Ramachandra how this Vali is not an easy person to conquer. He seeks Ramachandra's help to conquer Vali. But he says that this Vali is no ordinary person, and he speaks about the exploits of Vali. And he talks about how Vali conquered this particular demon by the name Dundubi, who came in the guise of a buffalo. And he tells him that Vali was able to kick him for a huge distance. And then he challenges Ramachandra also to kick the bones of this demon. And Ramachandra, he kicks it several yojanas, but still Sugriva is not so satisfied. And then Sugriva points to the shala trees and he tells that Vali could actually shake these shala trees and make them leafless. Then Ramachandra he takes up an arrow and he shoots all these sala trees and they pass through the cemeteries. They go to the netherworlds and then they come back and they come into the bow of Lord Ramachandra. That is when Sugriv is completely satisfied and they decide to go and face Vali. And the first encounter is that there was a great fight that ensued between Vali and Sugriva, but Ramachandra did not shoot any arrow. So our Sugriv was very upset and he came and told Ramachandra, why did you then send me if you didn't have any plans of shooting down Vali? But then Ramachandra explained that it was very difficult for me to distinguish between the two of you because the two of you look so similar. And then they came up with a plan to do the distinguishing, by which Sugriva received a garland it was a Gajapushpika garland that was garlanded by Lakshman, and he gets the mercy of Lakshman before he can go on to the next fight. They pass through a very mysterious place, the Saptajana ashram, and then finally they go and see Vali. Tara advises Vali not to go out. And in fact, Tara tells that she has heard a lot about Lord Ramachandra and she compares Lord Ramachandra to a tree and she speaks the glories of Lord Rama. But Sugriva but however, our Vali was very keen on going and fighting. And Sugriva and Vali, they again have a fight. And this time Sugriva was looking for the help of Lord Ramachandra. And finally, Ramachandra shoots an arrow and it strikes Vali. Vali is shocked. Vali accuses Rama. Vali asks questions. Why is it that you killed me? And Ramachandra actually gives very beautiful answers, and we saw this section in great detail. At the end, Vali gave a verdict that, in fact, you are the one who is the perfect dharmatma, and I was the one who digressed from righteousness. So again, we saw that Vali was not a big demon or something, but still, he didn't have the right intentions. But anyhow, he repented for what he did. Vali lamented for the sake of Angada, and Vali also gave very good advice to Sugriva. So Vali told Sugriv, "Hey Sugriv, you better keep up your pact of friendship." And this Tara, she is actually a very good advisor. Keep Tara with you, and she will give the perfect advice to you. Then Tara laments in various ways, and then Hanuman consoles Tara, and then Vali proposes that Sugriv should be the king. He gives his Kanchanmala, and then finally Vali departs, and all the associates are heartbroken, and Sugriv is lamenting, and he's like, "I will enter fire." And then Tara, she's very angry with Ram, but then when she nears Rama, she begins to glorify Lord Ramachandra. There's a very famous verse that is highly commented, Tam aprameya. So, like that, she glorifies Ram's various qualities. And on the suggestion of Ram and Lakshman, the final rites are done, and then Ramachandra tells that both Lakshman and Hanuman and the rest of the Vanaras, they should all enthrone Sugriva and make him the king. So Sugriva was anointed. Ramachandra decided to live in the Malyavanta Parvat, or the Prashravana mountain, or the Prashravana hill. And there's a description of how beautiful this hill is. And in the Mount Malyavan, while he's there, he spends the Chaturmasya season. And while the Chaturmasya season is being spent, Sugriva, on the other hand, in his own palace, he's having a great enjoyment. He's very, very happy. He's enjoying nicely. And he's spending time very happily with all his queens. He's enjoying. And Sharad Ritu also passes. And towards the end of the Chaturmas, Ramchandra is extremely angry. He's extremely angry. He asks, "What does Sugriva think of me?" And looking at the anger of Ramachandra, Lakshman gets infuriated. And then Ramachandra slightly pacifies Lakshman, but he tells Lakshman, "You better go and check out the true intentions of Sugriv." So angry Lakshman goes there, and meanwhile, Hanuman and the ministers have given advice to Sugriva, but Sugriva is completely drunk. He was intoxicated and completely overpowered by lust, and he couldn't even understand what was happening. Hanuman trying to convince him in various ways that he should take action. Finally, Lakshman enters the city and they have a plan. Sugriv tells Tara to go to the door. Tara goes in not a very good state, and Lakshman just keeps quiet. And then she explains to Lakshman about the situation inside, and she says that, "See, at the end of the day, we are Vanaras. We just indulge a little too much, but then it's not like Sugriv has forgotten everything. Sugriv already called for all the Vanaras, and the Vanaras from all over the world are already on their way." Tara assures this, and then Sugriv comes out and he appeals in front of Lakshman. So he does Sharanagati to Lakshman, and that is a success. And then Sugriv already explains that all the Vanaras are on their way. So Sugriv and Lakshman, they go on a palanquin to go and see Lord Ramachandra. Lord Ramachandra mildly chastises him, but Ramachandra feels very, very assured, and all the Vanaras, they come from all directions. Now, Sugriv gives specific command to all the Vanara Senas that they would be totally four sets of Vanaras. One would be in charge of the eastern direction, who's Vinata. The other would be in charge of the western direction, who is Sushena, the father of Tara. Then Shatabali, along with the sons of Yamaraj, the expansions of the sons of Yamaraj, they would be in charge of the northern direction, and the southern direction would be taken up by Angada, Hanuman, Jambavan, Mainda, Dvivida, and others. So like this, tasks were given to all the four groups of Vanaras. And then we saw a little bit of cosmology of how they went in different directions. And finally, Ramachandra he gives his ring to Sugriva. Why did he give his ring to Sugriva? Because he saw that, sorry, he gives his ring to Hanuman. Why do I keep mixing them? He gives his ring to Hanuman. Why did he give the ring to Hanuman? Because he saw that Sugriva and Hanuman were actually talking to each other, and Sugriva had so much confidence in Hanuman. So, looking at the confidence that Sugriva had in Hanuman, Ramachandra goes there and he gives the very special ring. We also discussed about how the ring came into the hands of Lord Ramachandra. And of course, our Hanuman, he takes the ring, he puts it on his head, and he starts flying up. And Ramachandra shouts out to Hanuman, who's flying in the sky. He tells him, "You are the best among the Vanaras. I'm sure you will find Sita." So he wishes him all the best. And then the Vanaras, they start on their mission while Ramachandra, Lakshman, and Sugriv, they continue to stay back on Mount Prashravana. And all the Vanaras are very excited. They go in all directions, and the Western army, the Eastern army, and the Northern army, at the end of 1 month, they are back with no success. They did not find Sita. Meanwhile, the Vanaras who went in the southern direction, they had a lot of adventures. Angada, in fact, thought one of the Rakshasas to be Ravan, and he tried to kill him. He did kill him. And later, when they entered the cave, they did not find Sita, and he could understand that this indeed was not Ravan, and he actually killed some other demon. And Angada was trying to inspire everyone, but everyone was very, very thirsty. And it so happened that they saw a mysterious cave, the cave of Swayamprabha. So they saw this mysterious cave and they were thinking, this is the cave to the hellish planet. But still, so our Hanuman, he assured everyone that this doesn't really seem to be the lower planetary system. And they start walking inside. And when they walk inside, they see all these jewels and they see fruits and vegetables and eatables. And then they are very, very tempted initially, but then they keep quiet. They don't want to give in to their temptations before they figure out what really all this is. And then finally, they see this beautiful ascetic woman, not beautiful, but basically an ascetic old woman by the name Swayam Prabha. So the Swayam Prabha, actually Hanuman takes charge and he goes and introduces himself to Swayam Prabha. And Swayam Prabha also introduces herself and she calls herself as the friend of this beautiful Apsara by the name Hema, who was married to Mayadhanava. And they have also, they stayed in this cave for many years. And she says, I am taking charge of this cave. But by her mystical abilities, she helped the Vanaras to exit the cave. So when the Vanaras exited the cave, they exited in the southwest corner of the Vindhya Mountains. That is where they exited the cave. And everyone was lamenting because so much time had passed, several months had passed, 4 months had passed. And they were thinking, what is this? We were given 1 month and we were stuck in this cave, and so long we were stuck here. So Angada begins to lament and he says that, everything happened because of this one boon that was given by Kaikeyi. Just because of this one boon that was given to Kaikeyi by Dasharath, so many problems happened. Ramachandra had to come to forest, Sita was kidnapped, and then Bali was killed, and now we are stuck in this middle of nowhere and we don't know what to do. So at that time, they saw Sampati, who was the elder brother of Jatayu. And while the Vanaras, actually, they were deciding to fast until death, though Hanuman was against the idea, Angada, he decided that we'll fast unto death, and they spread kusha grass facing the southern direction, and they decided to give up their lives. So while they were talking like this about giving up their lives, Sampati came out of the cave and he perched out and he was saying, oh, so many Vanaras are going to willingly give up their life. Very good. I'm going to have a great feast. And Angada was thinking, what a bad luck. Look at our own condition. Now there is also a vulture that is waiting to eat us up. So anyway, and again they start telling the story of how they actually landed up in the situation. They say that this Jatayu, he tried to save Sita and he gave up his life. But look at our pitiable condition, even without doing any attempt to, not attempt, but still without even catching a glimpse or a clue of where Sita is, we have to give up our lives. So they were talking about their own condition, and the minute Sampati heard the word Jatayu and also he heard the name Dasharat, he comes out and he asks, what happened to Jatayu? Jatayu is my brother, and Dasharat is an old friend of ours, of my brother. So what happened? You're telling both of them died. Tell me more. And that is when Angada, he narrates the entire story of how Dasharath's son was Ram and he was sent out to the forest, and then Sita was kidnapped by Ravan, and now they are in search of Sita. And while Jatayu tried to save Sita, unfortunately, Jatayu was killed. So, like this, the Vanaras, they tell their own story, and then finally, the Sampati, he begins to speak. He gives a few, actually, the Vanaras ask, oh, Sampati, you have been living in this Vindhya mountain for so long. Do you have any clue? You're a vulture also. Do you have any clue? Did you see Sita being taken by Ravan? If you know something, please do tell us. And that is when Sampati tells that I have seen a youngish lady that was taken away by this demon Ravana. She was calling out Rama, Rama. She even called out Lakshman. And then she was wriggling in the arms of this demon. And then he also tells how Vaidehi looked, that she was wearing a very beautiful sari, and she was suffering in the arms of this demon, and this demon took her. And I'm sure that this demon has taken her to Lanka. With my very strong vision as a vulture, I'm able to even see that several yojanas away in an island, this lady has been kept in the chambers of Ravan. So the Sampati tells, oh, Vanaras, I think you should go on the other shore of the island and go and find there. Go there and you will definitely see Maithili there. Not only that, Sampati also says, with my prognosis, meaning like I have this, I can see through the future, and I can see that you will very soon go and find Sita there and you will bring Sita with you. So like this, the Sampati tells. And after he tells all this, Jambavan, who's the older person there, he tells, what are you telling that you saw Sita? Can you give us more details? How did you see Sita? Tell us more information. So that is when Sampati begins to tell that actually I have a son by the name Supashva. That son, he's also a vulture. He would go to the ocean to go and get some food for me regularly because my wings were burnt. Once upon a time, me and my brother, we were flying higher and higher and we were going near the sun. And to protect my brother, I spread my wings so that he would be protected, and my wings got burned. Both of us, we dropped down. He fell off probably in Janastan, in that area, while I fell off in the Vindhya mountains with all my wings scorched, and I lost my feathers and wings. And then he tells that my son, he goes to the ocean to procure food for me. One day when he was going to the ocean, he came back very late. When I chastised him, telling, why did you come back so late? He told me that he saw a demon carrying away a beautiful woman. And he literally, pushed me away and he just went in the sky. And at that time, the Siddhas Charanas in the sky, they told me that I'm a very lucky person and I didn't die today, because whoever comes in the way of Ravana, Ravana immediately kills them. So the Siddhas and Charanas were telling, you're in fact very, very lucky. And the lady that is being carried away is Maithili. She's the princess of the Videha kingdom. And the one that is carrying her away is actually Ravana, who is a demon. So Supashva, when he came to me, he came late, he told me this narration. So first and foremost thing, he says that he himself, this Sampati is telling that he himself saw Maithili being taken away. Secondly, he says, with my prognosis, I'm able to see that in future you are going to go and find her. Thirdly, he says, even my son confirmed the same. Even my son also saw Maithili being taken away by this demon. Then the Vanara commanders, all of them, headed by Angada, they all surrounded Sampati and they helped Sambati go and offer oblations for his brother Jatayu. And after the oblations was offered, Sampati had earned the trust of all the Vanaras, and he came back to the Vanaras and he began to speak to them. So he told them that actually, I want to tell you more details about how I came to know about Maithili. So I already knew that this will happen. All this is going to happen. It so happened that once upon a time, when I went towards the sun, when me and my brother we were flying towards the sun, and then we got scorched by the sun's rays, and I fell down to the Vindhya mountain, and my brother fell off in the area of Janasthan. I lost my vision actually initially. I could not see anything. I didn't have any sort of sensitivity. But after 6 days, I was trying hard to see in all directions. And finally, I could come back to my consciousness and I could start seeing things around me. I realized that I was in the southwestern side of the Vindhya Mountains near the coastal area. And since this mountain is full of birds and beautiful caves and peaks, I thought this is the best place for me to continue to stay because I didn't even have wings to fly away. And I started living here. Actually, in this area, there is a very beautiful hermitage of a sage by the name Nishakara. And I decided to go and meet that sage one day. This sage is known to have lived for at least 8,000 years, and about a few hundred years have passed since he passed away. So, some 100 years ago, I really wanted to go and see the sage and get his blessings. So, I went to the hermitage with great difficulty because I just had to hop and go. I didn't have my wings. So, with great difficulty, I went into near the area of the sage. And the sage had just taken his bath and he came to his ashram. And when he saw me, he sort of recognized me. He could understand that I was Sampati and my wings are burned. He told me that you and your brother, you would come in the guise of humans and come and take my blessings in the past. Aren't you Sampati? Isn't your brother Jatayu? But then you look very different today. What happened to your wings? Did you lose your wings because of some sort of illness? Then Sampati told the story of how he and Jatayu, they flew towards the sun. And because of the scorching of the sun's rays, Sampati lost his wings and his brother fell off in a different place. So then this great sage, he told me this. He told me that very soon your wings will emerge. It will emerge at a point when you are of service to one particular person by the name Lord Ramachandra. In olden days, I've heard that something great is going to happen. There is going to be in olden days, I'd heard the story that a king by the name Dasharath would come in the Ikshvaku dynasty and he would have a son by the name Rama. And the son would be banished into the forest along with his brother Lakshman. And later, a demon by the name Ravan would kidnap his wife Maithili, and he would be in separation from his wife. Rama would be in separation from his wife Sita or Maithili, and he would try to go in search of Sita. And while he's going in search of Sita, he would meet a lot of Vanaras, and those Vanaras would be dispatched in all directions, and all these Vanaras would one day meet you in the future. So this is what that sage Nishakara had already, indicated. He had already predicted that I would meet all the Vanaras, and the day that I give information about Maithili, my wings would re-emerge. So this was the benediction, and this was the future telling that was done by the sage Nishakara. And Sampati says that I bowed down in front of Nishakara, I took his blessings, and I left. And ever since then, I have been waiting. I have been waiting. It has been over 300 years after he died. and he lived for 8,000 years. And actually, he died 100 years, with 300 years back. Sorry, he died, no, I've been waiting for 300 years. He died 100 years back. I've been waiting for 300 years after the prediction was made. So the calculation is that sage lived for 8,000 years, but he died just 100 years back. But Sampati has been waiting for 300 years since the prediction was made, something like that. So basically, he gives all this calculation and he says, finally, somehow I'm holding up my life. And in fact, that sage Nishakara, he also told that he also had a desire to see Rama, but then the time was not, time was not waiting for him. So he had to give up his life and he attained perfection. But I have this great fortune of being of some service to Rama. So when he said that, and he said that I was just holding up my life to see you Vanaras, and now I understand that the prediction made by the sage Nishakara is coming into effect. So while he was talking like this, both the wings of Sampati, they just started emerging. All the Vanaras were clustering around him, and beautiful little feathers and the entire wing started emerging for Sampati. So nice reddish, when the feathers are just emerging, they're reddish in color. So like that, reddish feathers were emerging, and Sampati developed his both wings. And he was so happy. And he says that, see, by the efficacy of that great sage, by his blessings, both my wings have been resurfaced again. So Sampati is very happy. He says, the kind of vigor that I had in my youth, I'm experiencing that kind of youth now. And then he looks at the Vanaras and he actually gives his blessings to all the Vanaras. He tells you, Vanaras, you're all doing a great endeavor. I'm sure that you will definitely find Sita. Please go towards that island, go in the southern direction towards that island, and there you will find Sita. I am sure you're going to find her and it will be a success. So saying so, Sampati finishes his service and he flies away. Now, the Vanaras, now they had very good clues, right? So now they knew that Ravana had taken Sita to this island that is there in the middle of the southern ocean. So the Vanaras, at the time of the Abhijit Muhurta, Abhijit Lagna of the day. So Abhijit Lagna usually happens in the afternoon or in midnight, midday or midnight. That is when Abhijit Muhurta happens. Anything that happens during the Abhijit Muhurta will end up in being a big success. So that is the reason the monkeys, they choose the Abhijit Lagna. So they chose the Abhijit Lagna and they started heading towards the southern direction. Now at this point in time, they were near the coast across the Vindhya mountains. That is somewhere in the middle of India. Still, they had to go to the southernmost tip, right? So they started now jumping towards the southern directions during the Abhijit Muhurta. And they were very happy because they got the information from Sampati. And now they were very eager to go and catch a glimpse of this island of Lanka that belonged to Ravana. And they came to the southern coast. That is the northern shore of the Southern Ocean. Northern shore, because it's a part of India. So northern shore of the Southern Ocean. The ocean, it looked like a mirror of the entire world. Just, because basically the land is reflected in the, like if you see the ocean from top, the ocean appears like a mirror of the world, meaning it is reflecting the beauty of the land. So like that, they were looking at this magnificent ocean that served like a mirror of the world. And they were just sitting there, not understanding how they are actually going to cross over this ocean. It looked so magnificent and so huge, and they were wondering, how are we going to cross this ocean? The ocean appeared shoreless, it appeared endless, and it appeared like as if the sky is touching the end of the ocean. So Angada, he was looking at all the Vanaras and he was actually fearful. At the same time, he was hopeful. He was trying to see how can we cross this ocean. So So he looked at the Vanaras and he started asking the Vanaras, is someone among you competent enough to jump over the ocean? Please give us some assurance. We have to go and give a good answer to our king Sugriva. So, is anyone ready? Are we all ready to cross this ocean? Is any one of you daring to do it? So then there was silence from all of them. Nobody answered anything. And then Angada started inspiring them. He said, oh, we are the best of the Vanaras. We have all come to the southern direction. We are so determined. We are born in great families. We are amshas of demigods. And we are so fond of adventures. Don't you think we can cross this ocean? And again, there was silence. So then Angada, he said, come on, all of you speak up. Each one of you, give me an account of how much you can jump, how much you can serve in jumping across this ocean. So when our little prince, Angada, he asked this question to all the Vanaras, everyone started speaking up. The first Vanara who spoke up was Gaja. Gaja said, look, I can fly 10 yojanas. Then Gavaksha, he said, I can go 20 yojanas. And then Sharabha, he told, I can go up to 30 yojanas. And then another Vanara by the name, what's his name? Okay, I didn't put his name properly. Another Vanara, he said, I will go to 40 yojanas. And then Gandhamadana said, I will go up to 50 yojanas. Mainda said that I can go up to 60 yojanas. And Dvivida said, I will go up to 70 yojanas. And the mighty Sushena said, I will go up to 80 yojanas. Jambavanta said, I can go up to 90 yojanas. In fact, in the past, I've even circumambulated around Lord Trivikrama when he took his Vamana incarnation. So I was very capable many years ago. I was young, so I was able to do all that. But now I'm very old. So in my old age, maximum I can jump is 90 yojanas. So it's not sufficing because already Sampati said it's going to be 100 yojanas away. But now Angada was worried, and Angada, very sadly, when he said, see, I can jump over this ocean, I can go up to 100 yojanas, but then it is very doubtful if I can jump back and come back. I don't have so much strength in me. So, like this, none of the Vanaras were sure of crossing the ocean and returning. So, Angada was very disheartened and he said, if we do not cross this ocean and we don't return with Sita, then we are all doomed. So, he was feeling very, very miserable. And then he says that if we don't return, properly, if there is no success on our part, Sugriva is not going to spare us. He's a taskmaster. He will definitely kill all of us. So at that time, Jambavan said, hey, Angada, don't worry, this mission of yours, it will not be a failure. We can motivate each other in this mission and somehow we'll attain success. At that time, Jambavan, he did this. Tatah प्रतीतं प्लवतां वरिष्ठं एकान्तम् आश्रित्य सुकोपविष्टं संचोदयामास प्रवीरो हरिप्रवीरं हनुमतम् एव. Then Jambavanta, understanding that among all the Vanaras, there is one Vanara who was comfortably sitting in a lonely place, and his name was Hanuman. He was indeed the best of all the Vanaras. So our Hanuman, who's the best of all Vanaras, was sitting in a corner, very, very silent, and it appeared that he was just comfortably sitting without any tension. So why is that so? The reason is because Hanuman actually had the ring. He was looking at the ring and he was thinking, actually, none of these Vanaras seem to have the intention to cross. He was thinking in his mind. And this is mentioned in the Skanda Purana also. It is mentioned that he could understand that none of the Vanaras really wanted to cross because they were scared of Ravana. And Hanuman was thinking, what should we do? am I even capable of crossing? So thinking like that, looking at the ring, he was sitting in a corner, very, very silent. So he was not participating in this argument of people telling how many yojanas they can jump and all that. Two reasons. One is Hanuman was looking at the ring and he was thinking, this task was actually given to me. I don't even know what I'm able to do. I'm kind of confused. And at the same time, he was thinking, is everyone really telling truly only how much they can jump? I thought they can jump much more. Are they all really scared of Ravan? So, like that, Skanda Puran gives that thought as well. So, like that, he is thinking and he's sitting. And then Jambavan, he looks at Hanuman and then he goes and he starts talking to Hanuman. He said, oh, Hanuman, you are the best of all the Vanaras. Not only that, you are so scholarly. Why are you not telling anything? Usually, when a wise person is there, his opinion matters a lot. But you're so wise, but why are you so silent? And why are you sitting alone? You're not even participating in the conversation. By your brilliance, oh Hanuman, you are actually equal to Sugriva or even better. Huh? And in fact, you can even match up till Ram and Lakshman. You are the son of Kashyap Prajapati. No, sorry. You are the son of Vayudev and you are equal to the son of Kashyap Prajapati, who is Vainateya, who is Garuda. Hmm? See, Garuda is the best of all the birds, and he can really, really fly very, very long distances. So, like that, you are Hanuman, you are Vayuputra. You can also go to great distances. What is going to stop you? You are finest among all the Vanaras, and why are you not taking up this task of leaping over the ocean and simply why are you sitting in a corner? And then he says that Hanuman doesn't seem very interested or very confident in the endeavor. So that is when Jambavan begins to talk about the birth of Hanuman. And especially what we will do now is we will first see the birth of Hanuman according to the Valmiki Ramayana as narrated by Jambavan. And we will also see other related stories about the birth of Hanuman from various other Puranas. I will just compile everything together and I will tell you about the birth of Hanuman. And this is directly from a lecture of my Guru Maharaj. So I'm just going to repeat whatever Maharaj said, but this will be about the birth of Hanuman. First, we'll cover from the Valmiki Ramayana and we'll also include other stories so that we get an overall perspective of who really Hanuman is. So Jambavan begins to narrate. He says, once there was a very, very beautiful Apsara by the name Punchikasthada. And owing to a curse that she had received, she became the daughter of a chief of the monkeys by the name Kunjara. Okay, so there was a chief called as Kunjara, monkey chief or a Vanara chief, and that chief's daughter her name was Anjana, but in her previous life she was an Apsara by the name Punchikasthala. This Anjana, she becomes the wife of Kesari, who is another Vanara. So once when Anjana was strolling on a mountain top, suddenly Vayudev saw her beauty. And just on catching the sight of this beautiful Vanara, a lady, Vayudev was very enamored and he embraces her. That means, like how sometimes the breeze comes and embraces a person. So, like that, Vayudev, he comes and he embraces her. And feeling the embrace of this wind, she found it a little uncomfortable. She felt that someone was trying to, misappropriate her, like, someone was trying to force himself on her. And she screams out and she says, oh, I have taken a vow to be the wife of one man. Who is this person who's trying to embrace me without a body? So that's when the air god, Vayudev, he tells her, hey, beautiful woman, I don't want to dishonor you in any way. And please don't have any fear in your heart. I am actually Vayudev. I am the air god. I want to give you a child through a super sensory manner, through my potency. That means without spoiling your, whatever your existence, I want to give you a son by my power. And this son will be very, very brave. He'll be very dazzling, and he'll be very powerful. And in fact, he's as good as me. He'll be able to fly, he'll be able to jump, and he'll be as fast as myself. So then Anjana Devi, she gives birth to Vayuputra, who's Hanuman, in a cave that is there in Anjanadri. The temple is still existing. Okay. So, like that, there are different stories about the birth of Hanuman. There is another story of the birth of Hanuman from Ananda Ramayana. I think it's a part of Brahma Vaivarta Puran. There it says that Bhumi Devi and the demigods, they approached Brahma because Ravan was terrorizing the entire world. And then, along with Brahma, all of the demigods, they worshipped Vishnu, and Vishnu promised to appear. That is, he promised to appear as Lord Ram. He tells the demigods to appear in the different Vanara communities, and he says that he would be born as the son of Dasharath and Kausalya. And of course, we all know that during the Putrakameshti Yajna, there was a divine person who comes out of fire, and he was holding some payasam, he was holding some sweet rice, and he gives it to the three wives, and they become pregnant with the four brothers, and Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna were born. Now, Anjana, she was married to Kesari, and she was also parallelly worshipping Lord Shiva to have a son. Okay, it's a parallel story. So, there in Ayodhya, the four brothers were born. Parallelly, in Kishkinda, Anjana Devi, she was observing lots of vows, and she was worshipping Lord Shiva so that she could have a nice son. So Lord Shiva appeared to her and told her that she should perform tapasya by stretching out her hands. And while she was performing tapasya like that, Vayudev, he puts a drop of the payasam in her hands, the same payasam that was given, or the same nectar, the sweet rice that was given to the three wives there in Ayodhya. The same was given in the hands of Anjana Devi, and Anjana Devi drinks it, and she becomes pregnant, and Hanuman was born. So here a lot of people are involved. Of course, she was married to Kesari. Not only that, Vayudev was involved in transferring that nectar into the hands of Anjana Devi, and Hanuman was conceived because of the vrata that she was performing towards Lord Shiva. Okay, this is one another retelling of how Hanuman was born. Now, in the Shiva Puran, there is a little different story that is mentioned. In the Shiva Puran, it is mentioned that when Mohini Murti appeared during the churning of the milk ocean, and then Mohini comes and she deludes the demons, and Lord Shiva had a very strong desire to see that form of Mohini, and Vishnu was like, I don't think you really want to see that form. But then, since Lord Shiva insisted, here this Vishnu, he appears in the form of Mohini in front of Shiva as a very beautiful woman playing a ball. And actually, this entire episode is mentioned in the Bhagavatam in great detail. Bhagavatam tells how. Hey, did someone raise hand? Sorry.
Yes, Mataji, just curious, are you sharing something?
No, no, no. I'm just telling the story.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
That's why I just put their pictures. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for this.
Yeah, no problem. So then, according to the Shiva Puran, so Mohini was chased by Shiva in various places, right? So the same story is mentioned again. And finally, according to the Shiva Puran, Shiva got to touch her, and she disappears. But again, according to as the story continues, like how it is mentioned in other Purans, there was a vital fluid that came out of Shiva, and Shiva's power was filled in it. Now, Shiva's power was entrusted with the Sapta Rishis, and these Sapta Rishis were told that they should pass it on to Vayu. So, Vayu carries that seed and he passes it on to Anjana. So, then Vayu invests his own potency in that seed, and it is given to Anjana, and through her, Hanuman was born. So, again, Vayu was involved, Shiva was involved, and then Anjana was also involved. And specifically, it is mentioned that the vital fluid enters through the ear of Anjana Devi, and then Hanuman was born. This is another story that is mentioned. Now, in another place, these are all different compilations which Guru Maharaj has done from different Puranas. It is in another place, it is mentioned that when Ravana was conquering the world and making everyone cry, meaning Ravana means one who makes everyone cry. Okay, that is the meaning of his name. So, as his name suggests, he made everybody cry. And at that time, the demigods they went and prayed to Vishnu. And apparently, Vishnu did not want to kill a devotee of Shiva. But Ravana was so arrogant and he went on doing offenses. So Lord Shiva told Vishnu and the Devas that he is my devotee and he has cut off 10 heads of his in sacrifice. But then he's creating too much trouble. So I will expand myself as 11 Rudras, and as the 11th Rudra, I will manifest as Hanuman and I will assist you to liberate Ravana. So, like this, he's an Amsha of Shiva and he comes to help Vishnu to liberate Ravana. In another story, it is mentioned that one day Shiva was immersed in great emotion of chanting the name of Ram. And when Parvati asked her Lord why he was so emotionally chanting the name of Ram like this, he tells her that the name of Lord Ram has the complete presence of the Absolute, and Rama will appear soon in this world and he will satisfy all the devas and he will liberate Ravana. And Lord Shiva tells Parvati that I will also incarnate along with Lord Vishnu in this world in the form of a Vanara so that I can help Rama. And because monkeys or Vanaras are completely detached, nothing will obstruct my service. I will be a very detached Vanara and I will do my service very nicely to Rama. And he says that I will incarnate as Hanuman. Hanuman will be an Amsha of me. So at that time, Parvati said, what? You will be detached and you will go away from me? No, even I want to come with you. She says, I also want to assist you. So I will find a way to assist you. And she decides to become the tail of Hanuman. She says, I will assist you and I will become your tail. Just as how the wife is the biggest ornament of her husband, similarly, the tail is the biggest ornament of the monkey. So basically, Hanuman's tail, Hanuman is an Amsha of Shiva and the tail is an Amsha of Parvati. So these are different compilations about the birth of Hanuman. Now, in the Valmiki Ramayana, as I already briefly mentioned, the story is that in the heavenly world, there was an Apsara by the name Punchika Sthala, and she was actually, when she was very young, she was accepted by Brihaspati as her daughter. And she was living in the ashram of Brihaspati in the middle of a forest. And at that time, when Brihaspati was engaged in the service of the Lord, mm, when she was 17 years old, she went to collect flowers. And all that she knew is the ashram of her father, and she was not exposed to so many handsome men. But then it so happened that once, when she was going to collect flowers, she saw some Gandharvas taking bath, and she was instantly attracted to them. So at that time, Brihaspati, who was waiting for her, came out and saw that, she just wandered into the forest and her mind got polluted looking at these Gandharvas. So Brihaspati actually told Punchika Sthala that it appears that you are getting attracted to men. So, and you will, because of this, you will have this material desire to be born on earth. And because of my curse, you will be born in a family of Vanaras. And she becomes very, very sad. She falls at the feet of her father and she tells, why are you cursing me like this? I don't want to become a Vanara. But then the father says, no, 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 it's actually a blessing. You will be married to a great Vanara and you will have a son, and that son will be Vayuputra. He will be an incarnation of Vayu and have the Amsha of Shiva. He will be your son. Not only that, he will be a symbol of a perfect devotee. And after that, you will be liberated. After you give birth to him, eventually you will perfect your life and you will get liberated. So that was Punjika Sthala, who was born as the daughter of Kunjara, and her name was Anjana. And this Anjana, when she was born, she had very divine qualities. And even when she was young, she was very devoted, and she had a desire to have a child by the will of the Lord. And the story goes on to say that at that time there was a Rakshasa by the name Sambasadhana, who fell in love with this Anjana. And for some reason, he fell in love with her, and he went and he started chasing her in different places. And she runs to the in the forest, in the place of where the sages are performing austerities, and she tells the sages that the Sambhasadhana, he's a Rakshasa and he's harassing me, and please get rid of him. That is when the sages call this Vanara by the name Kesari, and they tell that Kesari is the only person who can slain this particular Rakshasa. So, like the Sambhasadhana, he entered the hermitage area where Anjana was taking shelter, and Anjana begins to pray to Lord Shiva, and by the blessings of Lord Shiva, Kesari appears there and he challenges the Sambhasadhana into a terrible fight. And then Sambhasadhana, he even takes the form of an elephant and he starts destroying everything. But ultimately, Kesari, he becomes very, very tiny. He takes a very small form and he sits on the forehead of this elephant Sambhasadhana and he begins to beat him on top of his head. And meanwhile, Anjana Devi was praying to Lord Shiva, and Shiva appears to her and tells her the secret that the only way the Sambhasadhana can be killed is with his own blood. So, what she does is in the fight between Kesari and Sambhasadhana, there are a few drops of blood. So, she takes the arrow of Kesari and she smears it with a few drops of blood of Sambhasadhana, and she tells Kesari to shoot that arrow and kill the Rakshasa. So, taking the idea from Anjana, Kesari shoots the arrow that is smeared with the blood of Sambhasadhana, and Sambhasadhana dies. So then the sages, they congratulate him and they also thank Anjana for the very good idea that she gives. And then they all propose that Kesari and Anjana should marry. So like this, Anjana and Kesari marry, and by the mercy of Lord Shiva and by Vayu's mercy, finally they have the son by the name Hanuman. There is another story of Hanuman's birth. Many years past, no, the same story, sorry. In the same story, many years after Anjana and Kesari were married and time went by, they didn't have a child. And then they did a lot of tapasya, and finally Shiva and Parvati, they take the form of Vanaras. And first time when Kesari sees these two Vanaras coming in, Kesari wants to chase them away because they are some sort of foreign Vanaras. But then she's very kind and she honors these two Vanaras. And then finally Shiva, he blesses Anjana, telling that there is a mango tree nearby, go and eat one particular mango, and that mango will give you a special child. So then she performs prayers to this mango tree, and then after 7 days, she gets a special mango, and a personality appears in front of her and he says, I am Vayu and I'm going to fill my potency inside this mango. And even Shiva and also gave his potency to Kesari. So because of this, Anjana eats this mango and she becomes pregnant with a child. And on Anjana Parvat, she gives birth to Hanuman. So basically, again, Hanuman is the son of Vayu, Shiva, Kesari, and that's why it's called as Anjaneya, because he's also the son of Anjana. So many stories. Okay, all these stories are from little Puranas, little Sthala Puranas, little Upa Puranas, and so on. But Valmiki Ramayana has it very clear that it was basically Punchika Sthala who was cursed by Bharadwaj, and then later, did I say Bharadwaj? No. It is Brihaspati, yeah, cursed by Brihaspati, and later she becomes Anjana, and then she marries Kesari, and then they have a child with the blessings of Lord Shiva and Vayudev. Okay, so overall, that is the story. Now we'll see how Hanuman grew up. While Hanuman was in the womb of his mother, there's another story here. Again, this is all from Guru Maharaj's research, so I'm going to repeat this also. While he was in the womb of his mother, Vali was the king of the Vanaras. So Vali was much older and he was already the king of the Vanaras. And he heard apparently that the child in the womb of Anjana was very, very powerful. So he was so insecure that Hanuman would conquer him. So he takes a subtle weapon made of five metals: gold, silver, copper, tin, iron, and he tries to send that weapon into the womb of Anjana to kill the baby. But because Hanuman had the power of Shiva and Vayu, the weapon melted and formed into a gold earring that Hanuman put onto his ears. So it is said in some historical records that he was born with these earrings, but nobody could see them as it was very divine. So, like this, it is also in some accounts, it is mentioned that he was already born with a saffron cloth covering him when he was born. So, anyway, when this Hanuman was a little baby, he was very, very beautiful, and Anjana loved him so much. And one day, Hanuman, when he was a small child, he was hungry, and his mother was not present at that time. Now, this story is there in the Uttarakanda Ramayana as well. Okay, so this is a Ramayana story directly. So the son, the Hanuman, he was very, very hungry and his mother was not there. At that time, this son saw that sun, that is the sun in the sky. And since he was very hungry, he saw the sun in the sky and he thought that the sun in the sky was a piece of fruit. So he jumped up to eat that fruit. He jumped and jumped and jumped, and finally he started flying in the sky and he soared high in the sky, trying to catch that fruit, that Surya fruit. So, um, seeing that his son Hanuman was jumping towards Surya, immediately Vayudev, who was the father of Hanuman, tried to give him protection from the rays of Surya by enveloping him. But then that day, it was the day of eclipse. So, what happens on the day of eclipse? Rahu comes and covers the sun. So, now this Hanuman, who was seeing this beautiful orange fruit, and running after that orange fruit, suddenly he saw a black fruit coming. So he thought, this seems to be another interesting option. And he starts chasing after the black fruit. Now, the black fruit, Rahu, he goes and complains to Indra, saying that, who is this new Rahu you have appointed? I thought that I am the only Rahu and I have the right to cover the sun. But then there is another guy chasing after me and trying to race me to go and cover the sun. Who is that new guy? So that is when Indra comes out running on his Airavat. And Hanuman, after he saw the black fruit, now he saw a humongous fruit that was Airavat. And he thought, this is the tastiest fruit. And he tried to grab Airavat by the trunk and then play with him like a toy and try to eat him. And that is when Indra gets very upset looking at the behavior of this boy and he throws his Vajrayudha. Now, that Vajra hit the chin of Hanuman. Hanu means chin, Hanuma means one whose chin is broken. That is the meaning of Hanuman, actually. So, Vajrayudha hits the chin and this little baby comes falling down. And when he falls down, Vayu is so upset. Vayu is so upset with everybody that he withdraws all his powers from the universe. And suddenly, all the living beings felt suffocated. Actually, we cannot even move without air. We cannot move our arms, our eyes. Everybody was in total paralyzed condition. Nobody could digest food. Nobody could evacuate. Everybody was constipated. Nobody could breathe. It was a total mess. And then all the demigods, they went running to Vayu. Vayu took his son and he went inside a cave and he said, I'm not giving my baby to anybody and I'm going to stop functioning. And then finally, Brahma came and he touched the boy and the boy opened his eyes, the little Hanuman who had lost consciousness. Then everyone tried to console Vayu and they decided to offer benedictions to Hanuman, whose chin was injured. So then everyone came and they started giving blessings. Now, Hanuman means one whose chin is injured. It also means, Hanu means also wisdom. So which means a person who's full of wisdom. Hanu also means nectar, so it is a person who's as sweet as nectar. So like this, there are various names for Hanuman. And then Indra, he comes and then he gives blessings that, the Vajra cannot do anything to him anymore. And then Brahma gives him a blessing that hereafter, my Brahmastra cannot do anything to you. Like that, different demigods. Actually, this we'll go through in detail. Okay, I'm just doing it in fast forward. This section is there on Uttarakhanda. It's a very big section. I will do that in detail very slowly. Even if I'm making mistakes here, that section will be very beautiful. The birth of Hanuman. I mean, especially the childhood ploys of Hanuman. That part we'll do again. Okay, so like this, he got many, many boons from different demigods that he will not be affected by all the weapons. And then finally, Vayu was pacified, and then he entrusts the baby in the care of Anjana and Kesari. So, like this, Hanuman grew up. Now that he had so many powers from different demigods, he became a rascal, meaning he became too proud that he has all these powers and nobody can stop him. So that little kid, when you're a child and you have so many special gifts, obviously you want to flaunt those gifts. So he was growing up and he was doing too much mischief, so much so that all the rishis, they were all disturbed. He would go and he would interfere in the yajnas of the rishis and he would create all sorts of disturbances because he knew he had all the benedictions and nothing can happen to him. So he was an hyperactive child. And looking at this, all the sages, they thought that it's high time we curb this hyperactivity. And out of loving affection for Hanuman, they cursed him. They cursed him that hereafter you will not remember that you are any more powerful. You will forget all this. You will forget all your powers unless and until someone reminds you of your powers and your greatness. So, because of that curse, from that day, Hanuman becomes a very good boy. Okay, there is no more mischief, there is no more trouble, and he becomes a very good boy, very silent, very wise, all goody goody, and everybody likes Hanuman. So, like this, for many, many, many years, Hanuman was like this until he had to be reminded of his powers. And that day was when Jambavan told him about his greatness and his power. So Jambavan inspired Hanuman. Jambavan said, "Oh, Hanuman, you are the son of wind god, and only you are capable of accomplishing this task. Presently, we are as good as dead, and you are the only one we can have hope on. You are the other Sugriva. You are our other king. You are the only person who can actually save us in this precarious condition." During the period of Trivikrama incarnation, that is during the Vamana incarnation, Jambavan says, "I circumambulate the entire earth 21 times, moving around and round. But now, in this present time, I don't have the strength. But Hanuman, you have the strength. You can jump over the ocean." He told Hanuman, "Look at all these Vanaras, they have lost all hope. You are the one who can jump across this ocean with the speed of Vayu." And like this, Jambavan told him that you have to get ready to take action. So now that he was reminded of his past, and now that he was reminded that he's capable, Hanuman gets up and he gets ready. ततः कपीनां वृषभेन चोदित प्रतीतवेगपवनात्मजः कपिः प्रहर्षयन्तां हरिवीरवाहिनं चकाररूपं महत् आत्मना तदा. Thereafter, when Jambavanta, the king of the bears, motivated the best of the Vanaras, that son of the air god Hanuman, whose speed is irresistible, and he enormously increased his physique, gladdening the army of all the Vanaras. So, hearing all this inspiration from Jambavan, Hanuman got up and he started expanding his body now that he was reminded of his true capability. And seeing that Hanuman was expanding his body, all the Vanaras became so delighted. they looked at and they saw suddenly Hanuman is all enthused and he's building his body so big. So they were all filled with joy and they were all cheering and they were thinking, oh, just like how Vamana Dev covered all the three worlds, similarly, Hanuman has taken this humongous form with which he's covering all the three worlds. And Hanuman looked at all the Vanaras and with full enthusiasm he said, I am the son of the wind god, the air god, and I am as good as him in my capabilities. And then Hanuman starts to narrate his own capabilities. And Jambavan, he feels so blessed that, and he's assured that very soon Sita will be found. So, like this, Hanuman says, oh, I can jump, I can do this, I can do that. But when Hanuman is telling all this, he's not telling it out of pride. Rather, he's trying to assert it for himself that I can definitely accomplish this task. Then Hanuman, being fully enthused and being encouraged by all the Vanaras, as suggested by Sugriv earlier, he climbs up the great Mahendragiri Parvat so that he can take flight off from the peak of the mountain as it was already told. So he goes up, he starts climbing the great Mahendragiri Parvat, and all the living entities in Mahendragiri are all vibrating as Hanuman is climbing up the Mahendragiri, and he goes on to the peak of the mountain and he takes position, just like how in a running race you're taking position, right? So he bends down, he takes position, 1, 2, 3, get ready, go. And then just like how a rocket takes off, when a rocket takes off, what happens? It just pulls all the little grass and rocks and all these little grass, rock, dust, all of it. It goes up with the rocket for a little distance and then it falls off. So like that, as Hanuman was getting ready and he just took off, little small boulders, rocks, grass, plants, all of this took off with Hanuman. In fact, everything was vibrating. All the Siddhas, Charanas who were in that mountain, all the rishis who were meditating, the little animals who were there, they were all coming out of their caves and they were all looking what is happening. Snakes were coming out from the earth. There was so much vibration as Hanuman was getting ready to take off. So like this, Hanuman, as he took off, some of the plants and some of the rocks and little sand and boulders, it went. And even flowers were showering from different trees. So all of them, they were giving him a send off. Just like how when guests come to our house, it's not that we, when they are leaving, it's not that we just smash the door on their face. Rather, when guests come to our house, we walk with them for a few distance, right? We walk out with them. We take at least 10 feet with them. That is the recommendation. At least 10 to 20 feet, you should walk out with your guest and then say bye. When your guest is leaving, it's not like, okay, bye, and then slam the door. No, we do that even to this day as an etiquette. Anybody who comes to our house, we walk at least 10 steps with them and then bid them farewell. Similarly, all these little sand particles, rock, flowers, they were all just like how a rocket takes off and everything goes with that rocket. Like that, as Hanuman was jumping off the Mahendragiri Parvat, all these little pieces of sand and rocks, they were giving him a send off. And finally, he took off. With that, the Kishkinda Kanda ends with Hanuman's takeoff. But yes, there is something that we all can learn. Hanuman represents pure devotional service. And our beloved Srila Prabhupada, in order to bring back all these souls like ourselves to the lotus feet of the Lord, he crossed many, many oceans like Hanuman. And this is the very principle of bhakti, the expression of pure compassion for all living entities. And our Hanuman is an embodiment of compassion. In fact, he has shown the highest compassion of reuniting Sita with Rama. In the beginning of the Sundarakanda, we'll see how Sita represents the Jiva and Lord Ramachandra represents the Supreme Lord and Hanuman represents the Guru. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada took on this role of that being that guru who crossed so many oceans to reclaim the fallen conditioned souls. So Srila Prabhupada comes to the Western world and he was like Hanuman in Lanka. He had the same vigor and somehow he wanted to rescue that Sita. Somehow Prabhupada also came here just to rescue all of us. And with the blessings of Srila Prabhupada, with the blessings of Guru, we can all get over this ocean of birth and death and reach the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, just like how Sita was finally reclaimed by Lord Ramachandra with the help of Hanuman. So with that, we'll end here. This was the end, and Kishkinda Kand ends with this very beautiful takeoff of Hanuman. And from our next session, we will enter Sundarakand. The video is so bad.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanavad Pranams. When I was thinking that you are giving class from some Brahma Jyoti or what.
Switch on light. Yeah.
That's but thank you so much. Thank you. It was very wonderful session. I know today's session was short, but you
Yeah.
nicely. And of course, waiting for the beautiful Sundar Kand to come.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Mataji.
Rachana Mataji. Hari Bol.
Yes, Hare Krishna, Mataji. I was away for all of February, so I missed all your live classes. But thanks to the YouTube channel, I was able to watch all the recordings. So I did catch up on all the Kishkinda Kand recordings, and I especially liked where Vali is asking all those questions to Lord Ram. Why you shot me from behind the tree and all that. So, and I liked all the replies that Lord Ram gave. That was especially very nice. And I was also curious, why, although they knew that Ravan went south, why the four different groups were sent in all directions. So I think you very nicely answered that also, very nicely. So I'm happy to be back, and I'm, looking forward to Sundarkand now. Yeah. So
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for encouraging and staying with me, staying with all of us. Hare Krishna. Yes, Aruni Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, as always, very grateful. Sorry, I had to leave for a few minutes and I missed the part of Jambavan who reminds Hanuman. So who is Jambavan?
Jambavan is the bear, and he is an associate of Hanuman who stayed with Hanuman and Sugriva in the Rishyamukha Parvat. And he was also he was present from a very long time, right from the Satya Yuga time. And during the Satya Yuga, he even had an opportunity to circumambulate Trivikrama, who was Vamanadev.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. Hari Bol. Yes, Prahladananda Prabhu.
Then Pranam Mata. Very nice class, and so detailed, I always enjoyed Ramayana from so many sources, but I'm still getting so much more information, as you mentioned, from your Gurudev's narrations like that. One thing I wanted to ask was, did Hanuman put the ring in the mouth or he tied in the hair? You mentioned that he put it.
The verse is in his murdhana, in his head. He kept it in the head.
Okay, because in the Hanuman Chalisa it says, Prabhu Mudrika Meli Mukmahi Jaldi Lange.
Yes.
So that, but
yeah, I think different retellings will have some variations.
Yeah, like that, yes. But it's so enriching our psyche with Ramayana. You all grew up with Ramayana,
Yes.
And I remember I used to read one Gujarati book known as Veer Hanuman. While I was only about 6 years old. Since then, we are all in love with Hanumanji.
Yes, Hanuman.
Thank you very much for such a nice narrations we are getting from you. Haribol Mata.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu, for being there with us. You know so much more than anyone else, but you're always there with us. Thank you.
No, I don't know. But I've been fond of reading, so that's how we can get some knowledge like that. Yeah, very well.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Bol Sindhu.
Thank you so much. This was so wonderful. I didn't know so many things about Hanuman and the different sources, right? It's amazing. It's really amazing. I vaguely remember, I think Srila Prabhupada once went to a boxing area or something like that. And he was trying to make devotees. And it was very difficult for him to communicate, right? I mean, they are in a different world altogether. He said, I vaguely remember, I don't know where I read it or where I heard it. He said, say Jai Hanuman and fight. And that is still in practice, is what I heard.
Jai Hanuman, yes.
That's such a beautiful way of, making devotees, he went into their line and he got them out from there, right? It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mataji. And one question I had, sometimes I wonder, these different Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Skanda Purana, and all these things, right? It is in different kalpas that this happened, right?
Yes,
That is
yes.
how we can understand, because
Yes.
everything is true.
Yes, yes.
Everything is
Kalpa Veda.
true.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Correct.
so Krishna's mercy and the leelas cannot happen in the same way.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's different variations in different kalpas. Is that how we can understand this?
Exactly, Mataji. Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Very beautiful class, and how much of effort you put into this, we can really see, and we're all
I don't
enjoying.
know. I'm literally reading the verses.
No, Mataji. It's quite a tedious task, to actually accumulate all this knowledge and give us. It's your mercy that we are able to hear your effort. Right. Thank you so much.
That's my thing. Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preethi, Vilasini Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Mataji, so what a wonderful class, Mataji, and love the various pastimes of Hanuman's birth, various ways, yeah, the how it is explained in various Puranas. I'm so sorry. Yeah, but what was very interesting was that it feels like when a great devotee appears, everyone wants to be a part of that birth.
Oh,
It's
yes.
like Shiva is the front of Shiva is Hanuman, then Parvati Devi wants to be the tail, and Vayudev wants to be present. Then I don't know, so many versions. You talked about how all the demigods were also involved in getting that paisam to Hanuman, to Anjana. So yeah, it's just beautiful how everybody wants to serve a great devotee. So that's just my take home. I don't know if that is correct, but yeah, but wonderful session. Very you narrate this so beautifully that we can actually see it in front of our eyes. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. All glories to your wonderful service. And all of the other pastimes, are all of them from His Holiness Radharani Swami Maharaj's lectures? All of them were. Okay, wow, very nice.
I had put this together, I think, back in 2017 during the first series of Ramayana. So I pulled up my notes. And
Oh my gosh, yeah.
yeah, because that is when I had written down all this from Maharaj's lecture. And yeah, I just pulled it up and
That's
just
a
repeated
lot of
that.
research went in. Yeah, very nice, very
Yeah.
good. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Matha, I just wanted to know the meaning of word Ravan. What's the etymological kind of?
One who makes everyone cry, Ravana.
Oh, cry, Ravana. Yeah. There is some Sanskrit the root word like that. Rodati Ravana, like that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
maybe. Okay, I will.
Yeah. So then someone asked, many years back when I was doing the series, someone asked, why did his mother name him Ravana? And then later I found that actually he was named Dashagriva because he had 10 heads.
Right.
And then later he got the title Ravana because he made
Mm.
cry. Yeah.
Very well.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So if there are no other questions, we can end the call here. Looking forward to Sundarakanda next. Sundarakanda usually appears small, but so many commentaries. So I think it will go slow. Yeah. Okay.
No
Yeah, from
problem.
the very first verse commentaries begin, and they're loaded. Commentaries are loaded. So,
Yeah, Mataji, we are also not in hurry. Don't worry.
okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
we're
you.
waiting. The most nectarian section of Ramayana.
Ramayana, yeah.
Okay, dear devotees, we can end up here. Vancha kalpata.
Kalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyavcha
Kapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की
Namaः.
जय, श्रीमद् वाल्मीकि रामायण की जय. All glories to all the assembled devotees. Hare
Have Preethi Vilasini Mataji ki jai. Thank you so
Jai.
much.
Krishna Mataji.